Hi all, this is Kim Pinkney and welcome to my channel. Great to see some old faces. Hey, hey, hey. Alrighty then. So I am back from my little hiatus with my lack of internet, and I'm going to jump right on in. Hello, hello, hello. I wanted to start off with, hey Tatted Hearts, hey Toby, hey Julie, how you guys doing? Hey, okay, so today I'm going to do blade with a Keyblade on a t-shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch them out, and then I'm going to actually use my fabric markers and my fabric paints. And so what I've got going on right now is I've got the the markers that I'm going to be using for today. And I call everything crap. Oh, you need to get y'all junk. Hey, Julie. Hey, I'm glad I'm back too. Hey, I wanted to talk about really quick the difference between drawing on a t-shirt specifically and, doing a artwork on my beloved iPad, the precious. When you do it like this, it's custom. It's unique. Oh, shut up. My iPad's telling me, hey, you're live. Guess what? But anyway, you get one shirt. If you do it on the beast here, the precious, you can make multiple shirts. So, case in point, I had, now I went and printed out using this bad boy, one of my artworks, or two of my artworks. This is the for dark fabric one. I don't like the one for light fabrics because you got to flip it and all that other crap. This one, you just draw it and then just straight up print it. If you don't trim around the edges, you have this big square. Hey, tell Ian I said hi. Give him a big goose for me. But if you do take the time and trim around the edges, you get this, it looks a little bit more professional. Just like right here. What it is it's basically, it's white and it goes on like a screen. So what I came up with doing artwork for Ian, and congratulations Ian, I had printed this out on my printer, and it came out really nice on the printer. You peel off the back and you stick it on there, but I'm not very skilled with cutting stuff out. As you can see, I've got like a few edges here that are still like questionable, but now it's on here. And I'm gonna send this to Scotland, and just to thank Ian for and praise Ian on your skills. So I made two shirts. One's a little bit better than the other. If you cut out the letters, you kind of get this kind of thing, and I think it looks a lot better without the white in there. And it also gives me pause to think about how I want to do shirts like this in the future. Like you probably wouldn't notice the white on the outside of it if it was on a white shirt, but on a green shirt, if I had this like a sign, like this would be a wooden cutout sign, and then just kept it as a fat block, I think it would have done a lot better than if I would have left the letters all by themselves. So basically it says, I got your back, you got a deer. It's kind of like what goes on in the forest stays in the forest. You know, you leave you leave a little bit there, and got a fellow who's relaxing saying, I'll be a little late getting home. So look for this, guys, in the mail. It's going to be coming to you probably next week when I can get some time to mail it off. Alrighty then. So the beasts that I usually use, and you can use virtually anything to do a t-shirt. Oh, I was going to let's show the second one. Let's see. Those of you who've been here already, you know that I've already done this shirt right here. And this is what I mean by on a white shirt. I didn't cut it out the best, but if you kind of keep it kind of like a block, this works out really damn good. I don't know how long this is going to last. It's good for temporary shirts. I haven't tried Mod Podging it yet. I'll think about doing that, but I really like how this turned out. It's so vibrant. It's not too heavy on the chest. and it's not bad. It turned out pretty good, and I can embellish it any way I want. Like I've thrown some what is it called, glitter paint, and or glitter pens, and I just threw those on there, and it took it pretty well. This right here was just a white string, and it missed getting some balls. Some of us miss getting balls. And I just took some paint and just put that on there, and it just took it. I'm like, holy crap. So this opens up another, I can do a whole bunch of shirts doing digital versus drawing on them if I need to churn it out myself. So, okay, out the door. Okay, so now, I pretty much bought these guys at Walmart. This is a new guy here. This one I bought at Walmart. This one I bought at Walmart. And by far, out of all the ones that you're going to see, this one is the one that seems to last the longest. And what I'll also do is I'll bring out an old shirt that's been in my rotation. Like I've been wearing it off and on for a couple years. And let's see. All right. Now this one right here, I had it in my closet for like almost 2 years, and then I threw it into the rotation. The majority of these are all from videos that I had done about 4 or 5 years ago, if not 6. And this is how it held up. And I can tell you that these markers are what I pretty much used all over this thing. So the shirt is kind of, it's just a regular old Hanes shirt that I got out of a bag. I bought another set of Hanes shirts because, you never know how art's going to turn out. And it's not meant to last forever on a t-shirt. But, you may want it to last a little bit longer than this. And this is all being washed in a washing machine, in the hardest water you can possibly think of, in the cheapest laundromat that I could find, and I kept this on the, I just kept washing it and washing it. When you first put it on, it's nice and vibrant, but over time and bleaching and whatnot, this is how the color turns out. You can bleach, but, this is kind of the result. It kind of looks a little washed out, but the colors are still there. And this has been like a 6-year-old shirt. Now, if I would have washed it by hand and treated it like a baby, washed it by hand, and just hung it up to dry, the colors would have been much more vibrant over time. We live and we learn. But, without taking those special cares, that's what this turned out. I noticed that colors that have been layered on each other really pretty thick, last longer than colors that are kind of diluted, and I can see that in some of the flesh tones and stuff when I layered the skin. And I also used a combination of, let's see, these are the tulip fabric markers, and I also used the Marvi Uchida graffiti fabric markers. Love these because they blend really well, but tulip lasted the longest. Plus they're a bullet tip. But I found these guys. These are the same as these guys. The only difference is that they have a brush tip. Awesome. Freaking awesome. And so I could do bigger areas and whatnot like that. These that I've done, they are smaller. A lot of these images are a lot smaller, a lot more precise. Like in each one of these, and also in the videos, if you care to watch it. This was for March. They're in my archives, all buried down deep. And each one of these was a person who had a birthday in March on my Facebook account. So anybody who friended me that year would end up being a superhero. I made him kind of like what is that guy's name? Green Lantern, but instead of it being Green Lantern, is the Green Shamrock. He has a little shield and everything. And it's really great to have like this nostalgia. You know, to look back at your shirt or look down at your shirt, and you know, people like that stuff. You're just like, oh, where'd you get that? You know, you did it. It's your art. But yeah, the shirt is falling apart. It's old. It's old. Look at that ring around the collar. I wore this thing like nobody's business. Okay, so there's that. The Arteza shirts that I have. This one right here I'm wearing right now. It's one of those shirts that I didn't quite finish, but I still wear it anyway because I don't know. It's like I got to a certain point and I'm like, I'm moving on. But these were Arteza fabric markers, and I'll be using those as well. They seem to be lasting really well. I can't complain about Arteza. You know, and this shirt has been washed in the washing machine, same washing machine as these beasts have, and they're just as vibrant as I just did them. You know, it's just like, and I think I did this like last year, and they're vibrant. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, these guys, over time they'll fade, like everything does, but they still will be on the shirt. It won't like fade to white, especially if you go back over it and you know, add some more, what's it called? Layers onto it. Okay, so another thing that I may be using today, depending on how big the art is, because I have an idea that it's just going to be across the top. I'll also be using, well, it depends. If I put it on a bag, I'll use fabric paint, or if I need like a little bit of area that needs a special color that these guys just cannot give me, I will use fabric paint. These also I got at Walmart, and fabric paint lasts pretty well. It holds up. It cracks because as you know, as you wear things, it starts to show the cracks inside the shirt. The shirts have ridges and stuff like that in texture, and the texture starts to show, but the art is still there. So I mean, you'll get some good wear out of this. I don't usually put these on a shirt because they're heavy, because when I paint on a shirt, I paint on a shirt, you know, no joke, I paint on a shirt. They're great for like things that are, what is it called, like this is real shirts. These shirts are thin and they're close to your skin, so I would use the fabric markers. But for something that's not so close to your skin all the time, like a jacket, I would use these, you know, because you can cover like a big area. I left one of my jackets in Texas when I went to go visit my daughter. Shame on me. But it wasn't finished. But I'm pulling out the jacket that I still have yet to finish, because I started wearing it to save my butt when I ride my bike. But this one right here is the jacket that I was working on. This was the one-piece jacket that I was working on, and I wore the crap out of this. And I've washed it a couple times, and the paint on here is really thick, but it's durable. It's like how you would feel like a professionally done shirt, or even the same feel as this. You can kind of hear the plastic, you know, and it feels like, you know, it's not, it feels better on this jacket than it would on a t-shirt. And it seems to be lasting okay. I mean, you're wearing a painting. And it was funny, I got a lot of compliments while I was riding the bus, because, you know, there's a lot of one-piece fans out there. They're all hidden, but they're out there. They're always watching, always watching. But yeah, you're able to do gradients. You can mix your colors any way you want. And then I just used a combination of markers and paints on this, and it seems to hold up pretty well. I mean, this is going to last longer than the shirts. It's probably not going to get washed as much, but it's been taking a beating, this jacket here. I wore it around my waist when it was hot, but when it was cold, and you know, I would throw it on me, but you know, it's taking a beating. So the color of the jacket makes a difference too. If this was like a white jacket or something like that, I probably wouldn't have as, I'd probably be through the artwork much faster than I am. Anything with colors on it, you don't want to just directly put your color right onto it. You want to put a base tone on here, like white, and then paint it. If you don't, then this color will start to seep through your artwork, and it's just like a pain in the ass. Believe me, I was trying to do directly onto it, and it's like it changed colors of stuff. So, and it's time consuming. But you could always, and here's what I mean by cracking. I'm going to pull this up as close as I can, and you can see the texture of the shirt or the fabric start to show through. And that happens if you wear it like on a t-shirt. It starts to show those crackings. It doesn't flake off, but it just shows the texture of the shirt as it starts to soften and whatnot. But it's not going away. So that's one less thing to worry about. Anyway, this one I definitely wore from the time I started drawing to the time that I finished that month. And I've worn this for about 6 or 7 years. And this is all a combination of tulip and the graffiti fabric markers. On the skin tones, I'm using this Color Time fabric marker. I saw this on Facebook. Some Girl Scouts do this when they have their little jamborees or when they have their little get-togethers. They would buy like a shit ton of these in a box and just go to town. They're pretty inexpensive if you buy them in a set. You just look up Color Time fabric markers. It's got www.colortime.com. It says there's no ironing needed. Writes instantly on clothes, water and chlorine resistant, permanent pigment ink, dries instantly. It's non-toxic, safe for best color, store horizontally. It's got this bullet tip, but this thing has lasted me 6 years, if you can imagine that mess. I use it pretty much on flesh tones, but over time, it turns brown. On everybody here, I was using, when I didn't have this, I would use 2 colors of the Marvies, a yellow, and I put yellow on, and while it was still wet, I'd apply the closest thing to a flesh tone on top of that, and it's nice and vibrant when it first starts out, but then it starts to, start to lose its color. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you bleach your shirts, you want to baby them if you want them to last forever. The darker colors seem to last a lot longer and are a lot vibrant. Browns and blues, they last a lot longer than the yellows. And I think part of this is because of the way I applied it. When you add water, like I was using these Zig fabric colors, but after a while Zig runs out, but the tip is still fabulous. So what I would do is I'd dip it in a little bit of water and I would blend both of those 2 colors together while they're wet, and I'd get those nice gradients. Well, when I do that, when you dip it in water, it breaks down the inks a little bit. So you don't want, yes, cracking. Oh, I'm sorry. When you paint on something and it starts to get into the shirt, it starts to I don't want to say break down, but it starts to kind of show the texture of the shirt. It doesn't like crack like a regular Mona Lisa painting. You just see you start to see the insides. When you first put it on, it's all nice and flat and pretty, but then as you wear it, yeah, the tip is still fabulous. It is, and it's great to use. So what I do now is I just get the areas nice and wet, and then I just rub it really hard and get those textures that I need, and just layer those colors on. So the people who lasted the longest were like my darker tone skin people, anything that had layers with dark tones in it. Like this guy, he was like super light. He had just a little bit of yellow and the orange, not orange, but the flesh tone of the other one. She had mostly this marker and some of the yellow. And you can see these videos again. I've got like each month has its own little set. Like this right here was my what is his name? The guy that does this style. They're all supposed to be like kind of like tattoos. Ed Hardy. Ed Hardy tattoos. So everything was like a little thing. She's a writer, and I have one of her books, and I have Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Love, Ink, Romance, because her book is a romance novel. And it has right here on her little laptop, the heart was made to be broken. This guy, he had lost his job after he left our job that we were working together at. And it says, don't start the fire if you can't rise from the ashes. It's just like little things from Facebook friends when their birthdays came around. And I just put it to music and was drawing until I realized that you guys wanted to hear my dazzling voice. But anyway, this was a co-worker here, and she was very pretty. And I'm like, you know what? She was a fan of this particular ball player, so I gave her his number and his stuff. And then it says on the football, don't hate the player, and it has Lucky, things like that. And so each one of these was meant to be, a dedication in a tattoo to each one of these people. But yeah, all the videos are online. And this one was one of my favorites. It was the very first one. I always started off with the sleeve, and it says lead, follow, or get out the way. And just keep in mind, this is 6 years old. So, as far as going through all the washes and stuff, the darker you layer the colors, the longer they'll last as well. Okay, enough of the lesson. Blah. Let's get on to it. Oh, one last one. This one's going to last a freaking long ass time. I did this one, I want to say last year while I was riding the bus. It was really awkward because, it's huge. And plus the balance is kind of off, so it is what it is. But yeah, I was basically using these fabric markers and the Arteza. I was still trying to learn the Artezas. But mostly, but like I said, all these markers kind of layer and work well with each other. So, okay, and if you can, avoid using water, because water will break down the thing and it won't last as long. Okay, so let's get to drawing. Alright, in my last video, to announce that I'm back, y'all. Hope you didn't miss me too hard. I was showing some of the doodles that I had been working on digitally because I could just like take that and run. But now fun time is over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and design the shirt before I put it on. I have no idea who Suga is. As much as I like ogling my Korean men, and I've got a collection that I like to draw, and I got two freaking favorites that I love. One of my favorite Korean guys, I drew him as a cat boy and did like a couple videos of him and stuff like that. Because Tatted Heart says that they rarely see me draw Korean men, and oh my god, you have no idea. I would draw Korean men from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep if I could, and I probably will one day. They are fine. But yeah, I'll throw in one of those. I'll look up Suga. Another one that I like is he's Taiwanese. I think he's a Taiwanese actor. Oh my god, he's so freaking fine. Okay, so let me stop. Whew. Getting all hot in here and junk. Okay, so I'm going to do a portrait of Blade with a Keyblade, and I'm just trying to get an idea of how I'm going to do it. And I think, let me see, I'm going to do it about the size of where'd it go? Crap. Okay, here we go. I bought a new hoop. So I'll probably do it about this size. So I think that'll fit. Yeah, so about in that size. That way, when I get them all in there, I probably have room for words. But what I'd like to do, one more thing on the markers, is that I wanted to test out what the markers would look like before I started to use them. The brush tip ones, these are new to me, new to the rotation, and I had to see how they would react on a shirt. They're pretty vibrant going down. And I try to do either in the shape of a face, because when I color, it's usually in the shape of something. Using a circle is not enough, because you can go to town on a circle, but you're not going to go nuts on a face, not like that with a circle. So it's good to like kind of draw an image of something and then try the colors out, instead of doing it's like, okay, here's what this looks like, and then trying to do the gradients off of that, because you're not going to use the same pressures, when you draw this circle, because it's not. See, when it dries pretty fast, and this might have some still in it. Yeah, it has a little bit in it, so it's going to give a yellowish tone to whatever I touch. These things are like $1.99. I buy them online. Arteza, I buy them in a set. I've got 2 sets so far, and I think I'm going to buy another set. These guys go pretty fast the way I use them. I freaking go to town on them. Outlining, I love using these, but they've definitely they're obsolete. There's only a few more out there, and once they're gone, they're gone. They're not making these anymore, these gel rollers for fabric. These guys have the best outline. They don't like kind of feather or bleed like some of the other markers do. And I like also using, nope, this is the wrong one. I also like using the Prismacolor Premier fine line markers. You can buy these at Walmart in a set of 4, and you can get some really good lines if it's not too small. And it's almost the equivalent of this one right here, of these two. These two are really good to outline with. This one, not so much. The tip, it comes out nice and black, and then sometimes it starts to feather. So it's a hit or miss type thing with that one. Okay, anyway, poof, let me get rid of this. All right, on to Blade. I'm going to throw some music on, and I wanted to do Blade with a Keyblade, and if you could think of what Suga from BTS would look like with, see, what brands of brush tip markers do you recommend that are cheap but are still good? Let's see, brush tip markers for drawing on t-shirts. This one's not bad, and we'll definitely see how it works, because this will be the first time I'm using these guys. Tulip is good. It's not a brush tip, it's a bullet tip. These guys here sell in a brush tip, that Zig fabric color. The downside to this is you've got to iron it. I think that's probably why it faded on the other. This is the Zig fabric color. I think that's the reason why they didn't stay on my shirts when I blended it with the other ones, is I didn't iron it afterwards. Let's see. If anything, what's out there right now is Arteza. These guys are absolutely fabulous. They don't last long though. They're not tipped. They're not the fabric tip, brush tip. I don't have very many brush tips. Everybody here is either a bullet tip of some sort. This one is the only one really that I've got. This is the only one that I've got with a brush tip, and we'll see how this one goes. But anything that you can use to get the picture down would be just fine. And in a way, I like the bullet tip on these, because it's like sometimes you just got to get into the grain of the shirt. and get this going. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to do blade, and then before I move on to, let's see, I only need to get just what I need to get the hint down. And pencil will wash out over time. So whatever pencil you decide to use, let's see, that will wash out eventually. It may take a couple washings, but it'll definitely wash out. Okay, so I'm going to use this, and I'm going to turn it into the Keyblade. I think the more important part is right here. See, this is too small. Let's see. I'm gonna go right to the shirt, because I'm basically gonna do the same thing on the shirt anyway. I'm not gonna trace it. All right. So let me whip this bad boy out. I got a 3X shirt from the dollar store. Oh, bada boom, bada bing. But if you're not confident in your lines and line work and stuff, definitely draw it out and then trace it onto your shirt. It'll be cleaner that way, but this is a shirt for me, I guess. And I think what I'll do is I'll take a picture of it and then I'll make it into a digital thing. And whew, all this tape. Okay. And then I can sleep in it. And if I make a mistake, I sleep in my mistakes. Bahahaha. So it'll be a sleep shirt. Okay. All right. So instead of just drawing all willy-nilly without any kind of, you know, I like to. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is. Use these. These are regular embroidery hoops. They're usually pretty inexpensive. This one right here is a size 12, a 12-inch, and this is a 10-inch. So, but both are a good size for a shirt, and you can always move it and adjust it around. My favorite hoops are the ones that have like a little lip on the inside of it, and that really keeps the shirt from slipping around. So if you can find a large hoop with a lip, which is almost impossible to find, buy it. Oh my gosh. This one doesn't have the lip, so I ended up buying some, just in case it slips, I ended up buying some clips to keep it in place. Some clips. Alright, so I'm going to slip this part, the round part, inside. And I'm going to place it where I think, oh, come on. Okay, this is the downside from buying from a dollar store and Walmart. There's holes in my shirt already. I'm like, really? Little pin-sized holes. Let me check the other ones. Yeah, it happens a lot. And that's probably why they're sold at a dollar store. There's two more right there. So whoever did this, they put holes in the damn shirts. Let's see. And yep, in the same identical spot. So I would never be able to sell this to anybody. It sucks. Well, hell. Anyway, we continue. Yeah, I think these shirts would probably be better for the, you know, if I do the iron on. I'm like, what a pisser to have those holes in them, like right off the bat. And it was this was $10 for these damn shirts. These people should be ashamed of themselves. I know there's like defects and stuff like that at a dollar store, but come on, fresh out the pouch too. Okay, when you do your shirts, you want to measure at least 3 fingers down. But you got to keep in mind that when you start to draw, like say you're going to use the hoop as the boundaries, that it too is about 2 more fingers down because of the way the hoop is. So you may want to just raise it up maybe 2 fingers instead of 3. So I'm going to bring it up just a little higher. And I'm not working with much space here. It's easier to do on a bigger table. And then I just go ahead and take the outer ring and just go ahead and stick it on down there. Alright. And I'll throw some music on in a sec. Now these shirts are pretty thin, and what makes it pretty cool about being thin is that if I need to trace an image, it's really super easy to do. Wow, there's holes all in this thing. I don't expect this one to last very long, but it's very transparent, so you can just take an image of virtually anything. Let's see, like this one has some of my old pictures in it. And then with a light box or a light table, a light underneath, you'll be able to draw your image pretty easy. These are really thin. These are pretty much meant to be undershirts. I usually, if I'm drawing for someone else, if I'm doing something with someone else, I'll find a shirt of better quality. And you know, I did buy 2 more shirts. I'm trying to remember where I put them. Huh. I'll find them. But for this is just for me. But if you guys like the image, I would let me know, and I'll go ahead and I'll make a digital version that can be ironed on. Alright. Now, okay, so when I stretch it onto the hoop, I don't want it like too stretched out, because if you stretch it out too much, it'll distort, and when you bring it back, it'll look all warped and stuff when the shirt all comes back together. So you just want it enough so that the shirt is immobilized. And then I took the backing from one of my drawing pads, and I cut that out, and let's see, it just made a backer. You want to use something like, you don't want to use cardboard. Cardboard has those ridges, and so the best kind of boards to use would be either the board from the back of like one of these, because it's nice and flat. It doesn't have any texture to it. Once you go to painting on it and stuff like that, if you get a black, what is it called, mounting board, they come in like this kind of thickness. Those, I recommend those, because once you start painting, it'll start to seep onto the back, and on the lighter colored ones, you'll start to see the colors through your shirt, and it kind of sucks. If you like leave the board on. Sometimes when I paint, I'll drop the board down so that there's a little bit of a distance between it or it still maintains the barrier between it and the other side of the shirt. If I'm actually painting, I'll get a box and I'll put it over a box. So if, depending on how much black I'm going to be using, it looks like I'll be using quite a bit of black and a little bit of gray. So I probably won't be painting on this one. Okay, so usually when I also put the hoop on, I put the top of it, the adjuster at the top. That reminds me of where the top exactly is of the shirt, because if you start going to town on it, this is over here, you may forget where your top is, and you know, you might have a blade that's kind of upside down. Not that I haven't done that before. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start with the head, and I'm going to gauge that if this head is down here, the Keyblade will be about right here. So I'm going to bring the head down a little bit further. I'm drawing relatively light. This is just a regular number 2 pencil. But if you really want to see it, use a pencil that has a B, any one of the B's. B, what is it called? B6, 8, any of the dark ones, you'll be able to see it. You don't really want to use the charcoal pencils because it's pretty messy. All right, I said I promised music. We shall have music. All right, let's see how long it takes for me to draw this. Yeah, I think I'll look for that Suga guy, and we'll see what we should put. You know what? I always need a new cat boy. We'll draw that person as a cat boy. I love cat boys. Dirty old woman that I am. Okay. Now you could also draw this on another, like I said, another piece of paper. And one of the other things I would have done would be to draw it on one of these type of papers, this parchment paper. That way, if I wanted to, I could also reuse it, and you know, it's easy to trace off of, and it's pretty easy to draw off of too. And it's funny, I would draw on t-shirts while I'm riding on the bus, very carefully. I did my, a lot of my, what is that called? Not mermaid, but God, what is it called? The October one. I did a lot of that while I was on the bus, that October challenge one. And Ian, I'd like to thank you for peer pressuring me to get back into drawing t-shirts and drawing period. I forget how much fun how much I really freaking enjoy doing this. Now, I wouldn't sweat if you decide to just go ahead and draw straight onto your shirt and stuff. I wouldn't sweat any mistakes made in pencil. Like I said, they will wash out over time. And you could always cover this stuff up with the fabric markers and the paints and stuff. Yeah, painting, once I do it with, what is it called? Once I apply the ink to it, that's when I start to shit bullets. Only because it's hard to cover. And once you go there, good luck. But there's more than one way of skinning a cat, you know. And you could always go get another shirt and try again. Alright, try again. Okay, let's see. So, one of the things that I try to accomplish is just trying to get that likeness. If you can't draw, you can always trace. And I should show some techniques on how to do that as well. One of the things you can do is you can do the trick where I showed this little kid this on the back, like say you wanted to trace something like this. On the back of this, I would just go ahead and take a graphite pencil, really dark, charcoal pencil, something dark, just go over it completely, and then go on to the other side and transfer it by pressing really hard, and the graphite that you hit will end up on the shirt. You could also try using graphite paper, the transfer paper, and that'll work as well, because it's only going to be on there until for a few washes, and then it's going to be covered up by fabric markers and paints, and no big a deal. Now I'm just putting enough of the hint on here because the markers will do the rest of the work. So I'm not going to put a whole serious amount of detail in here. Just enough to give me what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to have to adjust a little bit or get a bigger hoop. But once you get it in the hoop, it's almost like drawing on paper. I wouldn't use any leads that are too thick. If they're really not thick, I'm sorry. Thick leads are good. You don't want to use anything too thin. I'm a big fan of, yeah, thanks for the peer pressure, Ian. I'm a big fan of using like the 0.5 pencil. I love how my lines come out when I do it, but a 0.5 pencil will snag on this shirt. And as much as I like using them, I'm trying to find my 0.5. I'm like, where are you? I'm so lost. Okay, I dropped it. But, and these are the brands I kind of use. But any 0.5 pencil is pretty good. But you can hear how it's like snagging. And then after a while the tip will break. Especially if I have it up too high. Alright. And I think the biggest thing about this is that just try to remember to have fun. You know, if anything. Oh, and I want to do a John Wick. I want to draw him on a unicorn or something like that. If you're gonna slaughter them all on horseback, you may as well do it on the best horse you can find. Okay. Alright. I want to put more detail on the face, but it's like, you got the rest of the body to do, Kim. Okay. Just making sure it's just enough to get that detail. A lot of these markers, they don't have white. Like this one here, no white. Arteza, no white. A lot of them, they just do not have white. White is important, especially if you want to do some, you know, like gradients. It's really helpful to use that. Otherwise, you're using the white of the t-shirt, and that kind of sucks. Especially if you've got a heavy hand and it's like you forget. It's like, crap, I was supposed to put white on this. You also have to keep in mind when you're coloring to make sure that you are coloring from light to dark. What I mean by is you don't want to throw your dark tones down first, because then you have no place for your highlights unless you have a good white marker. And I ended up buying this Sharpie paint pen, and I think this might work. Let's see. There's something else going to pull from behind me and I can't remember what. But yeah, none of these have. Oh, the only other ones that have a white, Tulip has a white for dark fabrics. If you could find it, grab it. It's awesome. That'll also help with white. Like all in this area right here is white. So my only alternative is either to use another color or to use my Sharpie paint pen. And there's no guarantee that the white that you use here is going to go over your stuff. So you could try adding your whites first, or experimenting to see if it will cover. Okay, so let me do this Keyblade here. Do I want to switch to a bigger hoop? Let me see. Bigger hoops might make it a little bit more difficult to see what I'm doing. Let me see. But we'll try our paws at it. Oh, I need more space. More space! Everybody back up! Okay. I'm going to go grab another hoop. Okay. I've got a couple sizes here. I've got this big one right here. Look at this. I got dust and stuff all over. I haven't used him in a while. So I got this big guy right here. He slips around. This guy right here is just a little bit bigger, but he's thin. And the bigger it is, the more it tends to slip a bit. So let me see if I can keep going with what I've got, because my camera won't be able to capture all of that. So let's see. If the Keyblade is over his shoulder, about right here. Let me see if I can get a little bit. This is all black and in shadow. Like all of this is like in shadow. Okay. This is part of his lapel. Okay. All right. And the Keyblade that I'm going to use looks like it's called the Ruin Fly Cutlery Kingdom Hearts Oblivion something or other. Oblivion Standard, Keyblade Standard. I think I'm going to use like a combination of this. This was the one that looked the most like a bat. It had like these really bat-like looking things on it. Let's see. So I think I'm going to deviate a bit. This had a chain, and I think I want to use Blade's tattoos. He had some tattoos on him. Let me see if I can find his little tribal tattoos. Or actually, let's see. I'll add some tattoos. Let's see. Tribal. Oh yeah. Okay. I think what I want to do is add a tribal bat. And let's see. Do I want it to be really super ornate? Let's see. I only have this strip. Where's his hand gonna be? Okay, so this is that part. I'm trying to think of where my Keyblade is. The key portion will be a little bit off here. And I think the key portion is going to look like his little, that little S symbol thing that he throws. A glaive, I think that's what it's called. Okay, so right here will be where my bat symbol will be. Oh, let's see. We'll bring it down a little bit. Let me see. I have a ruler. Let's see. Not too far off. Oh, I'm really far off here. Let's see, so about maybe right there. Okay. And we'll just have that kind of come off to the sides here. I could probably get away with it being on the edge here. There we go. Yeah, I like drawing the cat boys. I can draw like little cat-like symbols and stuff like that. Fish bones and stuff like that. Make them look a little butch. Alright, so let's see. Maybe a couple bats here. And sometimes you might get lucky and be able to erase if you draw light enough, but count on not being able to erase, especially if your pencil's really dark. I'm just erasing for giggles. Just want to see if it'll do it. Sometimes it leaves a residue, so sometimes it's just better to just deal with it. Okay, I think we'll live. Come with me if you want to live. Erase with me if you want to live. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Alright. Oh, I don't want to put that on just yet. Let's see. Let's get creative here. La 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 la. Ooh. Ah, rats. That's too big. Something. We'll have the bat wings. We'll have one that has the bat wings going out like this. Let me come down a little bit so you guys can see what I'm working on. So I'm just going to do like a whole bunch of different little tribal bat thingies that I see. Let's see. Bring this up here. That sounds like 80s music. Let's see, and then there's the head. I might have to just, let me see. I might want to do this last, because I got to put the colors down, and I'm thinking it's going to be like black and blue, maybe. We'll see. Crap. This is a little too... Oh, this one's pretty. I'm going to be merging a whole bunch of different bats together. This one's going to have more swirls. The fun part is going to be reproducing it so that the other side looks similar to it. Don't you dare dry up on me. Okay, I was going to say I was about to have a little fit. I love these markers. I had bought 12 at a time, and I think I've gone through virtually all of them. Yeah, it's about time for this one to bite the bullet. Poor thing. You were a good marker in your time. Let's see. Alright, let's try this one. Yeah, in the set that has these bullet tips here, these, they come with 2 of these black markers. This one comes out like that. Musica. Oh, Julie, you know that's what I do. I greet. The whining. It's whining. If I'm not greeting, I must be asleep. Um, let's see. Let's see. That one's really super abstract. I think we can get away with some abstracts here. Let's see. This one here. Of the body here. Ooh, I hope I have enough room for the head. Let's see. Really super abstract. Okay. I really shouldn't outline just yet. But I think it's okay right here. Let's see, make sure his ears are about the same height. Now, if you guys if you're into drawing on t-shirts and you'd like to collab, I could draw something up, and you guys can draw something up, send it to me, I'll send you the other one, and each of us will have a shirt. Just keep in mind, this stuff doesn't last forever. Forever, forever, ever. So if you guys are interested in that, just give me a holler. And I wouldn't mind doing like that Elsa shirt, like okay. One design with Elsa in it. I have all these books around me. Yeah, like I was thinking about putting that onto a shirt. That would be kind of cool too. Maybe that might be the next one after my cat boy. We'll do the cat boy. I think we'll live if I do an outline. I just won't do it in the face. Yeah, because I want the colors to do some blending and stuff. So I'm not going to put any eyelashes or anything crazy like that in there. Alright. One more, maybe two more bats. Oh, that one looks like a tight bat. Oh, let's see. There's so many cool tribal bats that I see. Let's see. This one I'll have it take up. Or maybe if I have it coming this way in town. Let's see. I'll keep that one right there. Okay, so I'll do one more sideways or a couple sideways bats here. That one's tight. This one's solid black. Now I'll keep the line. I'll keep the line ones in there. Let's see. Decisions. So hard. Oh, that was a nice one. Something hard but simple. There we go. Okay. Let's see. It's almost like doing, what do you call those Zentangles? If you make a mistake, it is what it is. It was meant to be. It was done in the art of Zen. Zen bats. Let's see. Okay, so from here, I think, let's see, I'll go ahead and do his face, and then as it's drawing, I can design the rest of the Keyblade, maybe. Okay, I need, ooh, this one's cool. This one's got its mouth open. If I got that there. And if I make a mistake, I think I'll just cry. No. Come up with something. Okay, one more bat going in this direction. Let's see. Oh, that's tight. Let's see, he's going in the wrong direction. Or is he? Let's see, I wanted it up and then one that's down. Let's see. This one's not so much tribal like like the other guys. The wings are coming down more on this one. Okay, let's see. We'll throw some eyes. Fat body. Ooh, that one had a Celtic look to it. Oh well. Alright, anything else I can toss in here? Alright, so about right here. I think this one's being nice because it's really juicy. Usually it gives me grief. Okay. I wonder. Well, I'll use the other one just when I'm ready to get a little deeper into it. Okay, so we got neck, t-shirt, the collar. This is probably what I was thinking of, that it was going to leave this like this edge. So if I just try to stay on the edge here, this is part of his lapel, this is part of his zippered vest. I only want to put black on his face where I think the shadow would be. Yeah, about like right there. This is all a light brown. Okay. Oops, this is in shadow here. All right, so let me look at my browns again. What does life have to offer? Okay, so my deepest, darkest brown is this coffee color. You'll find that in Arteza, some of the colors don't look like the cap. Some do, some don't. Let's see, what did I do here? Let's see. Chocolate's a good brown. Let's see. Chocolate's a good brown. And I'll probably use some of the tulip one as well. He's got some gradients of a lighter tone. Let's see. And if I don't like the browns that I have, I can always use a little bit of paint as well. Okay, let's see. So the color browns that I'm going to be using for his face, looks like it's going to be that tulip brown here. Looks like I'm going to be using a little bit of the, I'm going to use a little bit of that. I'm going to use this brown here. And then I'll probably use a little bit of the chocolate. And we'll see what we get. Alright. We'll start with the lightest color first. This color here is so versatile on skin, and you don't really need a lot. This is pretty close to this tone, almost like the tan. There's a tan in the 20 pack of the tulips. Throw that on here. Coming out really orangish looking, which is fine, it'll dry. Now I misplaced my, what is that called? My hot air gun. Funny how that happens. It's probably with my crayon somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna throw a little bit of white on here because I'm going to blend to the highlight here. Let me hold that down a bit. And you want to do this when the colors are wet. This one's got that nice tip. I'm just trying to blend it outwards here. Challenge myself. I love it. Just want a nice easy picture. Just a nice easy pretty picture. They'll make me do a background. That's the ultimate challenge. Okay, he's got a little bit of light on his nose. Here. Just got to remember I don't want to lose my highlights, so I'm going to throw them down first. Things that are blending to the light. And it's okay. I'd make it a little bit big so that it can be overlapped. This is all white right here. There's even a little bit of a highlight here. Okay. I'm going to angle this down. Alright, so I'm going to use a little bit more of this. Yeah, depending on the light that Wesley Snipes is in, sometimes they have him like super bright, like super light, and then sometimes he's like super dark skinned. And so it's kind of hard to find the in between. Let's see, this one is the chocolate, so I'm going to use a little bit of chocolate. I'm going to blend that in a little bit with this color, just a smidge. Just to give a little bit more variance to the brown here. I'm going to throw a little bit more white on here so that these guys can blend a little bit more. I also sometimes use a combination of white paint on here as well when I need to, especially if I really need those highlights to really stand out. Right above his lip is a stretch of white. Come on, you. And this tip's pretty fat. Okay, and there's a little bit of white here, and the rest is like shades of brown. Okay, I don't need this brown. Let me try this brown here. There we go, that's a nice brown. Okay, so I'm going to throw it right here as well. And I'm going to use the side of the brush tip. And I'm like barely, I'm like way back on it too. I don't want a lot of pressure on it. Not yet. And then where it's darker, I can go ahead and add that pressure. Ooh, I like the song. This is pretty cool. This is a darker shade of brown right here, so let's see. Now also with Arteza, you'll notice that it's got like it's got the bullet tip and it's got the chisel tip. The chisel tip, I've noticed, is darker than the other side. I don't know how they did it, but they managed to make one side just a slight bit darker than the other. Okay. Also, you don't want to put too much color down all at once. Some of the colors have a tendency of bleeding into the wrong spaces. So you want to put a little bit down at a time. And just go ahead and work it on into the fabric. And in this case, I'm going from dark to light. I'm just working it on in. This still has a little bit of yellow in it, so it's going to give it a little bit of a yellow tinge. And this is supposed to be a flesh tone. So the flesh tone on the Zig fabric color is like yellow toned. And over time it'll become more yellow. As you do your washes and stuff like that. But it's like over like 4 or 5 years that I got to that point. So you'll get some wear out of your shirt. Just keep in mind to do it to layer your colors. Let them dry a little bit if you need to, Let's see, I'm going to use a little bit of this color time one in this area right here. This is a different tone of brown right here. And I'm kind of blend this one here towards the light. So for something like this, I don't like put a base tone on because there's so much color play going on in it. And again, white is unreliable as far as with some colors. So throw it on, make it work. But these guys blend into each other, so keep that in mind as well. I'm also going to bring in the brown from the graffiti fabric marker as well. So I'm not faithful to just one brand. I take what I got and I try to use it to its max. What did I do with it? Okay, there we go. I swear I'm like buried in t-shirts and fabric markers. If you could see my bed right now, it is just absolutely insane. Okay, let's see, brown. Okay, I've got this brown here, and let's see. I'm also going to bring in this tone here because it's close to a flesh tone. Yeah. But a lot of pictures I would use like the lightest yellow and then just blend that with the flesh tone to get some good skin tones as well. And then blend like the wind, bullseye. Blend like the wind. Okay. Now this one I don't usually get the chisel tip. This is the first time I've bought this set. This one has the chisel tip, but the usual sets have this bullet tip, so it's kind of got that nice tip on the end, and then you can use the sides for bigger colorings. Let's see, this is a darker brown, so I might end up having to no, this one's getting dark enough. In some scenarios I would use a little bit of black or the complementary color in order to bring out the dark tones. So like maybe a purple would bring out the brown a little bit more if I needed it. Also, when I do people of color, I try to see if they are a warm tone or a cool tone. In this particular picture, Blade is a warm tone. He's got a lot of warmer browns on him. When he's in action and he's moving and doing all his things instead of just posing, he is a cooler tone. I'll put a little bit of... This one is all brown. This one has some highlights and stuff in it. Let's see, and it's closer to this tone here. Let's see, right here. I'm liking these new markers, these tulip brush tip markers. I got a really good, I got some really good action going on here. Okay, let me go ahead and blend that downwards. So some of the ones that I found that have really good blends or make things easy to blend are dried up this kind of marker here, because it's got that tip. And I remember I was using this tip until this thing just like wore off, until I got to the bare nub and just finally got off my ass and bought some more. These will last a while. And I gotta remember I've gotta iron this shirt, or else I'll lose this color. It'll just like wash out or be like a yellowish tone. And when you draw on these shirts, you don't want to wash them for at least 2 to 3 days. And if you can get away with it, don't wash it for almost a year. And it'll really sit in there for a while. Ew. No, damn it, I'll wash my shirt. Yeah, but wash it by hand and it'll last a lot longer. Let's see, this is tan. Let me see what tan looks like on the bottom here. If you want your shirt to look a little bit, or the person on your shirt to look a little bit more realistic, don't do an outline right off the bat. Let the colors create the outline, and then as needed, you know, add those dark tones in the shadows. Let's see, I want a darker brown. Let's see, this is the bullet tip here. The sides of his nose here are a little darker. And while they're wet, I blend them outwards. Another good tip to use is what is that called? The Copic marker. You don't want to use them on your shirts because they will wash out, but a dried up marker, like after you're done using the Copic, instead of refilling it, just go ahead and use the tip until that thing like falls apart. It's good with fabric markers. It's good with, you know, because it just brings those colors out, and you just tease those extra colors out. It's good with those, and it's good with Crayola markers. Okay, it's not so much dark on that side. It's got a little bit of action going on here, and he's got a mustache because he's a man of color. I'm going to give him more of a textured mustache, and it's got to be above that white that I had put down. And I'll blend a little bit of this out. And I want to make it a little darker. Okay, use a little bit of brown. Now I do put the caps back on because I don't want it to dry out. I doubt if they'll dry out like right away, but it's just good practice to put the caps back on. Plus, if it rolls, as these things have a tendency to do, and it gets on your clothes, the shite is permanent. So for God's sake, man, put your cap back on. Okay, so let me see. I'm gonna put a little bit of a dark line where the corner of his mouth is. Give me my dark. Come on, you. This is supposed to be the dried up one. These are, once they're dried up, these guys are useless. And you can't tell when it's dried up until just you start doo-doo-doo-doo, and the next thing you know, nothing comes out. Let me see. Okay, no more greeting. Okay, off with your head. Next. I think this is my last one. Be good. Oh, look at that. There's a shit ton around the edges of this. There we go. Yes. Make my mustache. Okay, all right, and then I'm just going to define a little bit more of the shadow here. Alright, now with his lips, he's got, this one I'm not so concerned about the cap. Let's see, it's a little bit light around here. I need to find a paint pen, a Sharpie paint pen, or just any paint pen that has like the acrylic. Usually they last. Or if I can find the one that comes with tulip. I went to Walmart and I found it stolen. I had bought a pack. I'm like, oh yay, they have some. And then it was like, oh dog, they stole it. They stole it right out the pack. Rat bastages. They understand the value of a good marker. Okay, so like right here is this light brown. I'll tease him up a little bit. It's all the way around the edge there. He's got this little white part until it gets about this area. And then it gets darker right here. Let's see. I'm not a big fan of chisel tips. If I would have known this one had a chisel tip, I wouldn't have bought it. The ones I usually get are the bullet tip ones, and I didn't know the difference between this one and the other. Yeah, I rarely use the bullet tip side. What's it called? The chisel tip side. I'm a bullet tip type of girl. Let's see, and usually that's the part that gets dried out the fastest. This is darker on this side. And I'm just like gently touching the shirt to get some of these tones out. I'm just trying to match as best I can. It's more of a maybe it's closer to this brown. Let's see. This is darker here. This is really light right here. And then we come down to his skin. And then we'll bring it down a little bit with the darker tone. Whoop, frickin' chisel. Frickin' chisel! Yes, I'm greeting. I must be awake. Okay. And then we'll just blend these guys together. Blend it downwards. Yeah, wherever the shadows tend to blend, go in that direction. Like it'll be dark here, but then it'll start to get lighter, so just blend it down towards the light without actually like tainting the light completely. And just try to find the same colors in the same area. Let's see, like similar colors. This tone, it's a little bit browner than this though. Okay, now as it starts to dry, you'll start to see different other tones start to come out. Like this is getting dry here. And sometimes when you lay down a lot of color, the board gets it and then throws it back up at you. So you got to be very careful how much you throw down, because it come back to bite you. And we'll just blend some more of these dark tones together. This is really dark on this side. And then we'll just try to blend that together. Now I'm not wiping off this thing at all. It doesn't seem to keep the color. Another thing, if you don't want like a super light tone in the dark tones, just go ahead and wipe it off somewhere else where you know there's going to be black. Or if you have a spare towel nearby, you can always do it that way as well. This one still has a little bit of tones still in it. Okay, I'm going to throw this in here. And this is just, it feels just like drawing on paper sometimes. Just a little bit more resistance, but it feels mostly like drawing on paper. And then if I have some white spots here, I just let it go to the fabric. And if I need it to be whiter than the fabric, I can just add a little bit more. Especially if I'm trying to make gradients. Now you definitely want to wipe off the white if you're going to be working in some really light areas and you've already mixed the white in with another color. Like I can get away with throwing white down here. Come on, you. And then I can blend it in with this tone here. Other things that you can use to blend, paint brushes will work. You can use a paintbrush to work the colors in if you don't have a fabric tip or a felt tip like this. Crayolas, if you can find a felt tip, which is rare. I've marked my Copic here as dried so I don't get it confused. These tips are freaking amazing. You just get it nice and get the shirt nice and damp with the colors that you're using. Let's see if I can get a little bit more brown here, because he's got like some contours. And it looks richer the more layers you throw on. I can also use the chisel tip. And if I need it softer, I can use this one and just like kind of tease the color around if I want. This one I've teased it too much till the point it falls off. But yeah, you want to get this nice and saturated. Alright. Let's see. So I'm going to use a little bit more black because it's got a little bit more tones here. And these are darker tones, so I can go ahead and get away with throwing just a little bit black in some of this. And I'll blend it through. Okay, so this is a good stopping point on his face, or I can let it dry a little bit and then come back to it, and I can add more to make the colors a lot more richer. Let's see. So basically the colors that I've used so far on his face, if you decide to try to do a person of color, someone with a medium toned skin, this is the chocolate, I used a Zig fabric marker to get this this flesh tone. I used a Zig fabric color. This is the flesh tone. A little bit of this brown, and I just used dabs in certain places to get these browns here. So use what works for you. Again, try to play with different colors together, different brands together, and you may get some really interesting results that other people would not be able to get otherwise. Plus, it looks frickin' fabulous. Okay, so let me move it back up. Yeah, the camera does not do this justice. If I do say so myself. Okay, so for hair that's kinky, I'm gonna use a little bit of the white for some of the highlights, and I'm just going to go in like little circles and throw that on there, and then other little dots, and then I'll come back around and throw more in there. I'm going to take advantage of the gray as an alternate color and not quite hitting the light hard. Let's see, where art thou, gray? Where you go, gray? Right here. And it gives a little bit of variance to it. Let's see. Another good one to use is the, because it's black, but it's gray. You know, it's not that black. It's storming, so you may hear a little bit of thunder, or my power might go out. So just bear that in mind. Ian says, when we get the t-shirts, he will give you a shout out. Aw, thank you, Ian. I truly appreciate that. You know, we'll bring more people into the fold. But I think I want to do your shirts again when you get to another landmark. And I like once you made it a year, I want to do another shirt for you just to congratulate you, keep you motivated. Like, you know, it's like, ooh, if I don't do this or that and the other, I'm not going to be able to get Kim's shirt. You know, something like that. And I hope that Customs doesn't give us a hard time. I'm going to try to send it, I don't know if it'll be easier in a box, or I'll see if I could squeeze it into a traditional sized container of some sort. I just don't want Customs to give you guys a hard time. And if you guys want practice shirts, maybe I can draw up some designs, and then you know, I gave him a little bit more hair than he should have. That's all right. I like my Wesley with hair. I can also put that online, and you guys can buy those. And I'll have my signature on it, and you can throw your signature on it, and it'd be like a collaboration. Okay. There we go. This is going to be all white in these edges. The very edge of it is white. Or more silver. Try not to sell you shirts with holes in it. I'll also send those skins. I haven't made a second skin. I think I only made one skin so far. For Ian to practice on, or you know, to do our little collab. I gotta figure out what to do on the other skin. I bought some tattooed skins because I wanted to draw and send it to Ian, who is a tattoo artist, and see what that would look like together. See, we both like Harley Quinn, so we can always do another Harley Quinn one. Make it look like an Ed Hardy picture. Okay, let's see. I'm hesitant to outline it. Let's see. Just trying to get his likeness going on here. Yeah, I guess we can get away with an outline. I was thinking about not outlining it, but bump it. We'll outline it. Okay, and then I think I want to throw maybe a reddish tone in the shadow, in the glasses here. Let's see. I like Artez's dark colors. I like using Stained by Sharpie, but they're so hard to find, and when you do find them, they're expensive. Here we go. Just do like kind of a reddish black tinge. Oh, you know, while I'm playing, I've got some of that color change paint too. When it's put on really thick, it really does the iridescent color change. Let's see, I want to mix this with black. There we go. And then my black lightens up a bit, which is kind of sucky. But Artez's black is pretty good. So let me see if I can find their black. La, 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 la. Here it is. Okay. Oh, is this one dry? This one's dry. This one's old. You are a good marker in your time, darling. Okay. But the chisel has a bit of life still in it. Let's bring this up a little bit so you guys can see. There we go. We got the whole shebang in there. This is going to be fun to do the leather with dried up black here. Okay, it's got a little bit of life in it. And other things about Arteza, if you like the color green, this is the set for you. I'm not a big fan of green until I did the Hulk, and it's got like 6 greens out of all these colors. I've got like a shit ton of greens, and I don't use green very often. 20 out of 24 colors, there's like 6 greens. It's insane. The grays are really close to black. God, I hope it rains this 4th of July. I really do. My neighbors are so obnoxious. I don't even think it's my neighbors. I think it's people that just come from wherever they feel like it. Like last night, they were drinking and playing their freaking jungle music. It's not even, it doesn't even sound like real music. It just sounds like a bunch of booba 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 booba. The bass is so terrible. Anyway, let me stop greeting. I'm greeting, Julie. I need my greeting alarm. I need a greeting alarm to remind me to stop greeting. Kim is greeting. Kim is greeting. Kim, stop greeting. Okay. Anyway, but this isn't black. This is dolphin gray. I don't know what dolphins are this gray, but I think I'll be using it in the leather. Let's see. And this one here is it elephant gray? Oh, this is the other dolphin gray. There's another gray in here somewhere. Okay, that red looks tight in here. Okay, this is a purple in this is a graffiti fabric marker with the tips that I love. I love these tips. Okay. Cool thing about these, they come out nice and wet. I think I do use them again in from time to time. I don't know if I can't remember if I do or not. Because I like the felt tip ones. Let's see. I think I need to go a little bit darker around the edges. Just a little bit. But you can get some really good, oh, I think I went a little too far. Stupid chisel tip. Okay, so his eyes are about like right here, and that's where it should be pretty dark. I'm just following the shadows that I have. Okay, so let's see. This is a little bit gray right here. Use a little bit of black. And I got to get this side of the ear. This is black, definitely. I just need a darker brown. Let's see if this will work for me. Yeah. And then I'll use a little bit of some of the other tones here. Just try to spread the love. Now some tones, when they go on top of another tone, they lighten, and then other tones will darken. You just got to play with it to see which effect you'll get. But it's easier to go darker than it is to go lighter. There's a slight color change there. Very slight there. No light anywhere over here. So I can go even darker if I wanted to. Let's see. Oops. Don't want to bring that. That's what I mean by coloring, cleaning the tip before you go into another area. That's okay. I need this to be a little bit darker, like a light brown, like this guy. And just sometimes I just throw a little bit of a line on there, and then I tease that line out into the direction that I need it to add its shadow or a hint of shadow. And I gotta be careful not to touch the shirt in other places. Okay. And if bad comes to worse, I just whip out the white, squeak, 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 and put that down. Let's use a little bit of this, and use a little bit of the paint on here. Don't need a lot. Shit. Scared the shit out of me. It was a sorry you guys. It's like an explosion outside. I hate the 4th of July. I hate any holiday. They sell fireworks for freaking every holiday, including Mother's Day. And they'll set off the fireworks. Even Mother's Day. Mom gets a bang, everybody goes out with a bang. Absolutely. My neighbors don't give a rat's ass about anybody else but themselves. Okay, Kim is greeting again. How unpatriotic of me. I'm sure there was lots of explosions during the time leading up to independence. Pieces of shite. Okay. I don't want a darker tone. I want more brown right here. And I do kind of want a darker tone. Let's see. Darker. This one's darker. And I'll just tease it. Tease me, tease me. This is a little bit light tone right here. So, and this is a light tone right here. It's just a really hard shadow. And I'm just trying to get all the tones here. Now, if you ever come across a place where it's like your markers are just too overpowering, what I like to do is take a piece of plastic, any kind of plastic, and if I just need the lighter of the tone, but I just can't seem to get it with the marker, I'll just go ahead and put a little bit of that on a piece of plastic, and then whatever I'm using, either a paintbrush or even my little blender, I'll just go ahead and toss a little bit of that color here. And that's just enough of that shadow in a grayish tone, the grayish yellow tone, to kind of match what I'm seeing on my screen. Same thing with the lips. His lips are like a very light brown in certain spots. I'll just do this again, tease a little bit onto a piece of plastic, because what I have is just a little too overpowering. Or if I need to mix the tone with a bit of white, I'll just take a little bit of white and just mix it and get the tone that I need and just place it where I need it. It's all in like control of, you know, because your markers are, I treat them kind of like how I do my Crayolas, because they don't always have the colors that I want either, you know. So I might have to take the Crayola and just put it a little dab there and throw a little bit of water onto it or whatever, and or just blend two of them together. See, I think I want a little bit more white on the tip right here. This is really super bright right here and right here. And then I've got his, right above his lip, it's hitting the light. Just a little. And then a little bit right here, and then the rest is in color. Okay. Just a little bit of this. That's a little bright. I need a little darker. Let's see. And it's the little subtleties that'll help set your picture out from the rest of the pack. See, I want to build up these tones here. I'm going to just use a little bit here and just kind of blend it to the light. careful of keeping my highlight here. Alright, and then I'll go ahead. There's a little bit of this tone right here before it transitions to the hard light. Alright, folks, we've got a Wesley here. And so I'll let this dry and move on. And to speed it up, I've got my faithful little hair dryer. I'm going to hit this with my hair dryer. I'm going to turn down the sound here so that all you'll hear is music for a bit. Oh, you got me. You know I got you, Julie. You're all the alarm, the greeting alarm that I need. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry a bit with the hair dryer, and then I'll readjust it so I can work on the Keyblade and his outfit a little bit more. So give me one quick second. I'm going to switch it over to just the desktop audio. Alrighty, I am back. Okay, so I don't really have any other preference for like drying. I just use the hair dryer because it's convenient, and I can't find my other one. But no greeting, I'm not greeting. Okay, so I'm gonna hit it with black in the areas where I know it's black. So I'll try to take care as much as I can right here. And then I'm going to use some of these grays. The grays are so, like, if you want to know more about the Arteza set, just go ahead and hit it. I have a video where I do like my first impressions of using it within the first few hours. And I had some thoughts. I was doing it on a canvas bag, but it looks absolutely fabulous on t-shirts. This stuff is gorgeous on t-shirts. I don't think this thing is doing any justice. Let me bring it down a little bit more. There we go. And I'm just hitting it where I think it needs it the most. And then using the chisel tip side, I'm just using a little bit of light to give variances in the shadows here. Yeah, I dry it right before I switch over to, like shifting it, because you don't want it to get onto the rest of the shirt while it's wet. the shadow's a little harder. Okay, I'm going to use some of the grays here. Let's see, first gray. Let's see, this is the dolphin. Let me see if I got the elephant. Let's see. Let's see. Gray, gray, gray. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's elephant gray. Whoops. And then I'll probably use maybe another tone in here just to give it a little bit of variance. This is dolphin. Let's see, which one is... Looks like dolphin is the darker. I could be wrong. Let's see what elephant does for us. Ooh. Both of them are so dark. It's insane. Okay, see, it's still dark. Let me try the other tip. And this one here is the elephant gray. And then I'll use the dolphin on the opposite side. And this is the dolphin. So the dolphins are darker than elephants today. Let's see. At least as far as Arteza markers go. I'm just trying to follow the shadows. Okay, so this is too dark to have in this one particular area, because this is a really big highlight right here. So I'm going to throw a little bit of white here, and then I'm going to tease some of the gray into it. Keep this upside down, and then where is my blender? Here you are. And just blend it on in together while it's still wet. And go even a little deeper into it. Alright, and I could get away with throwing a little bit of white onto this one, but this is about the right shade of gray. Okay, perfect. Even better. And then it has a little bend to it. Let's draw. Okay, so that comes down. I just need to lead myself off on some areas before I really shift downwards. This is a buckle right here. This has got different shades of gray and silver. This is like a darker, this is like another gray here. So we'll have this bend outwards a little bit. Let's see, jacket's supposed to cover some of this. Okay, and this has got like some stitchings and stuff like that in there. And this is all zipped up right here. This has got a little bit of texture around these edges here. I have to go back over with a marker because it's going to wash out if I leave it like it is. Alright, so dolphins were darker than elephants. So let's see. So this is more of the elephant tone. This is definitely more of the elephant tone. Now I've got another shade of gray. I'm going to see how that looks on here. Let's see, this one's going to cast a shadow. So we'll use this one, well, we'll use black for the shadow. Just a bit of a shadow right there. It's a slightly... Oh, okay. I've got... Let me see what this other marker looks like on here. Let's see. Actually... Okay, that gray is pretty dark. It's almost close to black. So... This gray... I probably won't be using. Let me try it. And I'll just use it in maybe some darker areas like right here. Oh yeah, that's pretty dark. Let's see. But what's kind of cool is that it's kind of set off from the other colors. Let's see, where is... Let's see, black in here. Did I pull it out? Maybe this is the gray. Oh, maybe that was the black. Duh. Okay, so this must be the gray. And I'll just work that in. I'm like, that was a pretty dark gray. Okay, this is black. Maybe. I can't tell. Let me see. They both look the same. Is that green? This is green. No, it's not. Let me see. No. This could be black. Play guess the black here. And then let's see. That looks gray. All right. And so, if that's, this is black. And then this has more of the collar. Let's see what we've got. I want to get as far as I can before I move. Before I shift. Okay, now there's another gray in here. And it's a really good blue gray that I usually use for like Totoro. Call it Totoro gray. And I think that would work best on this right here. I forget this is a frickin' chisel tip. I'll just have it kind of blend in with this one. This gray is a little darker than this gray here. Not a fan of this. Okay, this is going to be the last set of chisels that I probably buy. Okay, listen to me, I'm greeting. I don't even realize that I'm greeting when I'm greeting. It's sad. It's a weakness. I don't like this gray on here. I think I need the dolphin or elephant gray here. Let's see, this was elephant. God, that elephant's black. This shite is black. You cannot tell me that is gray. Kiss my butt if you say it's gray. Okay, alright. Okay, so kiss my butt gray, I guess. Alright, so this will be where the Keyblade hand will be. Let's see, everything definitely come out a little bit nicer. Let's see, do I need to add more color? I think I want more color play right here. Just a little. Kind of have them blend to the back here with black. Now that this was kind of drying out, I can use this sparingly with other colors. He's not quite dead yet. But these are pretty good to use with blending other colors too. It's not too bad. It's not a felt tip though. Let's see. Where is... Here we go. All right. Let's see. Okay, so that's a nice stopping point for that. I'm going to go ahead and hit these guys right here. They are black and red. It's the straps, and then this is silver. So I think I'll be using white and a little bit of the... Let's see if I can find a light gray. This gray might work. That's the Totoro gray. Let me use a different gray. Okay, so... Alright, so I got this gray right here. I'm going to use that for the buckle. Just try to emulate silver. I'm doing that poorly, but let's see. We'll put a little bit of white on the very top, and then we'll throw another shade of gray on the edges, and that should give us our silver. Now on the tip of some of my markers, sometimes it brings up a little bit of the fabric, so it looks like little balls of dust. And then even on the shirt itself, it may bring up a bit of the fabric. It usually goes away once it's washed for the first time. Let's see, we'll throw a little bit of, we'll make this a little lighter. Then we can see those shadows a little bit better. Yeah, sometimes when you have black on black, you just gotta try to find what's blacker than the black that you're working with. And if you can get away with doing different degrees of that black, like right here, there's like a little bit of light reflecting on his shirt. Even though the shirt is black, there are different areas that are capturing the light. And that also adds a little depth. And then along with doing that, I could add a little bit more black to certain areas. Especially since his neck pretty much disappears into the black here. Sometimes you'll need to go back into certain spots to make it darker once they've dried. There we go. We'll just leave that like it is. Give this a better definition. Let's see. This is more of the warm gray. And I'll just put that over the Totoro gray. Just want to see if it gives it a little bit more something. Because it's not quite Totoro gray. It's more of this warm gray. Okay, let's see. Try to get this buckle going here. Now, another thing to keep in mind when you do t-shirts, they don't always have the crispest of lines. Detail, if you're drawing it too small, if you're drawing it really small, your details will get lost because of the texture of the shirt. So if you're going to draw anything, you want to draw it huge. That way you don't lose your details. Plus, you got to think that people are only going to look at your shirt for a heartbeat. You know, so first impressions. You know, people will notice it and then they'll look away. This has more of a jagged type of stitching here. Matting the red first, and then I'm going to throw the black on, and then I'm going to try to throw the red back on there after I'm done with the black. Okay, so I think I'm going to use this black here, the one that's almost drying out, to try to fill in this part of the strap. Because it's basically red on black. Now, if you don't get to stay for the entire video, that's okay. I will go ahead and download my video and speed it up, add it to one of the songs that you're hearing now, and or find a totally different one. Some of these songs distinguish themselves a little bit more than others. Right now I think I have it on the latest songs that have just been uploaded. There we go. Just adding a little bit more detail to the straps here. And it's really dark right here. Okay, so I've got this strip of black here that doesn't need to be there. I'm going to see if I can cover it up with the white. I think it'll work. Maybe. Let's try a little bit of this. Alright, so I'm going to dry it. I'm going to switch the music again. Alright, Julie, take it easy. I will catch you later. Thanks for joining me. Hey Ian, thanks for the compliments. Hey, let's see. What was I gonna do? When I get a chance, I'll send you the either a PDF or the JPEG image of the design for your shirt, and you can use it as you wish. Okay. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to go use the restroom and let this dry a bit, and then I'm going to shift this and work on his hand holding the Keyblade. I shall return. All right, now I am ready to shift it over a bit. Let me move some of my pens out of the way. All right, so I'm just going to move this down a bit. I want to keep a bit of the image in sight. That way I keep proportions correct. Yeah, drawing on a t-shirt, it takes a bit. It takes a bit. Usually it takes me about 4 hours, depending on, you know, if I know exactly what I want to do and I have everything planned out, and even less if I've already drawn it ahead of time and transferred it over. But then again, you know, this is one of those few times that I'm going to try to do a little bit of a marathon and at least get 90% of it done, because this is a lot of work. Okay, so I'm going to lead this down a bit, and Keyblades usually have at least a little bit of decoration on the hilt. So let's see, if I'm going by what's here, his hand would be like right here. Okay, so I'm going to we'll put a little bat in this symbol here. We'll make this kind of like a shield. We'll just keep that bat motif going. And then from there, I'm going to make this into bat wings, and we'll use, let me see, I'm going to find a different design here. Okay, let's see. I'm thinking I'm going to use another tribal bat and something a little bit more solid, something that has a bit more tribal to it. That looks tight. Yes, I like this. Okay, this is a deviation from, let's see, do I want to do it so that the bat, let's see, we'll do it like this. I'm going to do the initial design here. And then we'll just kind of have it, so we'll put the bat's head right here. I was going to have a different symbol here, but I think the bat's head will work. Actually, this maybe should be the bat's head. Yeah, we'll have that be the bat's head. Okay, so let me get a pen. Let's see. I wonder if this one's dried out. Don't be dried out, please. Please, please, please. Let's see, we'll have the ears be on either side. So instead of it having a point going upwards, oh yes, this is beautiful. Okay, this is where top of the head is. Okay, this is the ears. And this, let's see. Kind of wanted to make it look more Disney. This is all filled in black. Let me see if I can fill this in. Let's see, that one's drying out. We'll use the, let me try this one. Gotta be very careful that I don't go too wet on the outside. It'll bleed. Kind of like the Heartless. Okay. Let me see if I can find that symbol that he's got. I think it's like an S shape here. I'll leave it like that. Make this a little bigger. And then his fist will be right here. That's going that way. And just bring this down. Just trying to keep that tribal look going on. Let's see. Let's see if I can find another bat that's doing what I want it to do. There we go. can't figure out. I'm trying to do the mirror image and I can't concentrate. There we go. There you go, Kim. Think backwards. Okay, and then bring it back towards. This will all be the hilt. Let's see. So going back this way. Oops. We'll bring that down. Okay, let's see. Okay, so if we're doing it like this, usually the thumb wraps around. Make it look like it's actually his hand here. Okay. I'm going to have to adjust this down again. Let me blow dry this. So I'm going to throw a little bit of his flesh tone on here, just enough so that we kind of see where he is. We'll have a lot of the glove obscuring it though. Yeah, I guess that's not going to happen. This is all glove right here, and then it just goes right into the hilt, or the edges of the hilt here. Make this nice and dark. Just sucks that when I opened up the package, you know, they had holes in them, little tiny, tiny holes, as if somebody stapled. And since I don't want to obscure the bats too much, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the grays, these little graffiti grays here. Use a little bit of black. Really want these guys to stand out here. Let's see, I'm going to use a little bit of paint. Try to get these whites as white as possible here. All right. Let's try to give it a little bit of definition. Okay. A little bit more black. Just want to make sure that's nice and black. All right. Let's see. And then we'll just have some of the grays come upwards. Make a bit of a gradient. Yeah, I try to resist the urge of just blindly just throwing some lines in there, because it kind of looks like crap when you do that. Just want to get it nice and thick and dark. If you want a gradient, then you need to put some effort into it. Just a little. That's what I'm telling myself. Okay, so I'm using a bit of this gray here. And I'm just going right into the black and then just drawing it out until I get to the lighter gray. Just bring these colors together. I'm trying to decide what color I'm going to throw right here. If it's going to be another shade of gray, or if it's going to be this blue tone. I think I'll throw some little other curly cues and whatnot like that into the design, because it's looking kind of plain. And that might be my downfall. Because it's like, yeah, it may look a little plain, but simple is not always bad. Just carry this blue into the handle here. Now some of this is still wet, so it's picking up some of the black. Okay, so I'm going to throw a little bit more black in there, or one of these grays. And just got to be careful not to oversaturate, because if you oversaturate, it'll start to bleed outside the lines. And it's not always a good thing. Okay. All right. Let's see. So I think I want to throw a little bit more of the warm gray, because this, let's see, let me see, because this jacket comes down to more of the warm gray color. And just remember, because you see these little lines here, it's kind of ugly. So just go ahead and fill that in, get it nice and rich. Same thing, this tone here is similar to this tone right here. I think the difference is that this tone here is more purplish. Let's see if I can find another tone that will work for this. This is also the same color. I'll saturate this with the warm gray. I'm leaving like a little bit of an edge right here between the jacket and the vest. And I think I'll use a little bit of this color here. Just try to hint this in here. And then just kind of go over it with the blue-gray. Just give it a hint of that purple. And that just separates it from the jacket. And then up in this area it's kind of black, so just kind of color it in a bit. I wanted to kind of stand out from this right here. And I'm trying to decide if I want to give it red eyes or yellow eyes, maybe like right here, but I think I'll leave it alone for now. Throw this blue in here. Okay. I'm going to throw another little blue in here. Let's see. And just see if I can get that to blend a bit. Just add that blue in another place. Okay, and we'll see if we can tease that downwards. here as well. All right, we'll put this one back in here, and we'll tease out a little bit of this purple here too. Alrighty, let's see. Alrighty, so I'll call it for today, and I'll show you exactly where I am. I can't find my phone to turn it off. Alright, so here we are. So we're more than 90% done. Well, maybe I have a little bit ways more to go, but I'm going to cut it off like right here and then add the blade. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for hanging with me, and I will try to complete this a little bit later. Alright, I need more space. Let's bring it back up. There we are. There we go. And then there's the blade hilt, and then the blade will be right here on the shoulder. All right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.